Reply all is such a frustrating and horrible feature when it is misused. It causes such a waste of time within teams because everyone has to click through useless back and forth messages when the topic doesn't really apply to them. In this video, we'll go over how to properly use reply all by covering 4 tips that you should follow to make life easier for you and everyone on your team. So the first tip is to apply the golden rule of reply all. And the golden rule states, don't use reply all when only the original sender needs to read your message. It's as simple as that. So if you're answering a question, responding with a courtesy phrase, or sharing a problem that only applies to you, then don't reply all, and instead unicast your note back to the sender themselves. And some phrases that are major offenders of reply all include congrats, thank you, I agree, please remove me from this mailing list, and my favorite, please stop replying all to this thread. And if you think about it, simple words like congratulations or thank you or agree don't really need to have everyone copied on the original email, and you can simply send the note back to the original sender alone. The second tip is to mention when you're removing members from the reply all list. So in situations when you want to reply back but only include a subset of the original reply all list, then you should clearly state whom you're removing and why to make things clear to your team. So one example is removing Jim and Tyler so I don't clog their inbox. Another example is removing the customer for confidentiality. And make sure you state the phrase at the beginning of your email message so that it's not missed. So if you write that 2 or 3 paragraphs down, then someone's going to miss seeing that and assume that everyone was originally copied. Now, as a side note, for sensitive emails, you can also modify the subject line with a qualifier like removing client or removing customer or for your eyes only. The third tip is to send a follow-up reply email after any offline discussions. And to help explain that, let me give you an example of what typically happens in a reply all email chain. So let's say John sends an email to the team about a certain topic. And then what happens is that Lisa reads the email and replies back to the team, copying John as well. And then a day or so later, Chris reads the email and also does the same and replies all. And then let's say some time passes, maybe a day or two, and then what happens is that Lisa decides to give John a call and they have a phone conversation about the topic and they make an important decision about the topic itself without anyone being privy to it. Now the problem is that neither John nor Lisa send a follow-up email to the threads explaining that they talked and made that decision, and this leaves the entire team uninformed about what actually happened. And this is a cause of frustration and miscommunication among a team, especially when everyone finds out that the subject had been discussed and decided upon. So a best practice here is to summarize any offline discussions and proactively send a follow-up reply all email to close the loop on a particular topic. So an example would be a simple email from John saying, team, Lisa and I talked about this on the phone and decided that we will postpone our on-site visit until we hear back from the client. No further action is needed at this time. It's as simple as that. And then finally, tip number 4 is to state what you want the recipients to do. So you want to explicitly state what you want your email recipients to do. So if you don't want them to reply all to your message, then simply mention that at the end of your email. And here's an example. Please unicast your responses to me and don't reply all. And if you do want your team to reply all so that everyone is informed of the responses, then type that as well. So an example would be, please reply all to this email because it's an important topic and everyone needs to weigh in on it. Again, the idea is to explain exactly what you want them to do or not do. All right, let's wrap up with a quick summary. So the first tip is to apply the golden rule, which is don't use reply all when only the original sender needs to read your message. Tip number 2 is to mention when you're removing members from the reply all list. Tip number 3 is to send a follow-up reply email after any offline discussions. And tip 4 is to state what you want the recipients to do or not do. Thanks so much for watching, and on to the next video.